Exactly, and he does it a lot in this book, especially when we get to the 10 plagues.
Mm.
I'm excited about that because there's one god after the other.
Hey,
Anyhow.
welcome to Exodus 2 and of the Good Book Club.
Yes, let's go. Chapter 2 is the birth of Moses, the protagonist of this book. Well, there is a movie about
There
it.
is a movie, apparently, according to you. We'll find out as we work out through everything how accurate the movie is. The
Yes.
animation, I don't know if there's live action, but
The live action
animation.
one had some good parts, but not everything.
Okay.
I didn't like Exodus Gods and Kings so much. They didn't portray it very well, but Prince of Egypt, that's much better.
Okay.
That's an animation. But in chapter 2, Moses gets born, and how old was his sister?
What was the laughing? 7.
7. Yeah, when we talked about it on Sunday, we were debating on how old was his sister, and Timur just blurted out 7. And actually, when we Googled it, he was right.
Yeah,
he was totally right about it.
And when you asked now, it was a little bit of a blank for a split second.
And Aaron was 3, and Moses was just born. So Midian, the sister, was the oldest. Aaron was just 3 years older than Moses. And this was the time of the oppression, so they hid Moses away for 3 months. And then there came a time where they decided they are going to put him in a little basket. And what's funny is, technically, in a way, they obeyed Pharaoh, but they placed him in a basket into the Nile River and not throwing him into the Nile River.
Yanked the baby.
Yeah, they didn't throw
Okay.
the baby in. And the same word that was used to describe Noah's Ark is the same one that's being used to describe what they made the basket out of.
Okay.
For Moses' little basket. So in a way, he was in his own little ark, if you think about it.
Oh, so it's sort of like a parallel.
It's kind of cool if you. It's like a little connection.
It is cool
to the word,
which explains why I also survived the Nile, because, well, Noah's Ark survived a massive flood.
Yeah.
And
that was a
mini ark
there
that
we
survived
go.
everything there.
And then he drifted along while his sister was following him along the river, and he ended up at the princess as she was doing her ritual bath, and they saw the Nile River as a god. So for the princess, she thought that this god of fruitfulness gave her a baby. And I always wondered, why didn't she report him or have him killed because he was a Hebrew boy, but she might have thought that she would have betrayed her god. That's what I think.
So, in a sense, she actually, because they also saw the Pharaoh as a god, but apparently the god of fruitfulness, because that's what they saw the Nile as, and therefore it's going wrong. We're going against being fruitful. It's interesting. It's interesting how God, Jesus, can use false gods to steer his story that he wants.
Exactly, and he does it a lot in this book, especially when we get to the 10 plagues. I'm excited about that because there's one god after the other.
Hey,
Anyhow, so he gets there and she takes him out of the water, and that is actually the meaning of his name. Moses means taken out of the water or to draw out. And then my question is, what was his name his mother gave him? Because Moses was called Moses because of the princess, not because of his mom.
It is a good question, and I don't know.
And I would love to ask Moses in heaven one day, hey, what was your real name, bro? And then he says, and then hopefully I get
Insert
the answer.
name.
Insert name here. But I don't know what his name was, but point of the matter is his life got saved. And the funny thing is, his sister asked, should I get someone to take care of the baby? And the princess says yes. And it ends up being his mom, and they got paid. So God kept him safe, the family got paid, and she still got to take care of her boy for a little bit.
Wow. And the amazing thing is, this also shows the motherly love, because it is sad that she's unable to tell Moses, like, I am your mother. But the amount that she offered or given up was to be able to let Moses live because she loves him so much. And that's also in the book of John. Jesus died for us
Oh, yeah.
because he loves us.
Yeah.
And here, it's not that intense as dying, but she risked quite a lot for him just to stay alive.
That's actually very true, because she hid him for 3 months.
Yeah.
How do you hide a baby for 3 months? Imagine he's crying and you have to quiet the baby.
Yeah, that is
That's very
hectic. Yeah, it's very intense. So if you want to see the book of John, it's in the card. You're in the top left corner. And yeah, let's proceed.
From here, the book makes like a big jump, so it's like 40 years later or something. And it says when Moses grew up, and he obviously grew up as an Egyptian prince.
So it's, okay, baby, he grew up. Oh, okay,
Boom.
40 years later.
There we go, he's a man now. And he was bald, he wore that makeup, he might have worn a golden bracelet. If you watch Prince of Egypt, that's actually a very good portrayal of what he likely looked like. And he knew that his people were Hebrews because when he visited them one time, he saw an Egyptian slave driver being harsh.
Yes.
And what did he do then?
Something very, very, very brutal.
Okay.
Murder.
He murdered him.
He murdered a man.
And he looked around to see if there was anybody else. And we don't know how he killed him. In Prince of Egypt, they portrayed that he pushed him off of something. And then that fall killed him. Or he might have taken a hammer and whacked him over his head. I honestly don't know. But Moses buried the body under the sand and he thought nobody saw this. But what happened the next day?
Plot twist.
Ooh.
The Hebrews saw it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Because the next day he went back and he saw 2 Hebrew slaves arguing. And he tried to figure out what was going on there. Don't fight with each other. And they said, who made you boss over us? You killed an Egyptian yesterday.
Oof. So he fled.
And he was afraid because he would have definitely been in trouble being the adopted son of the princess, who was the daughter of Pharaoh. He fled all the way to Midian, which is quite far. And there he met the 7 daughters of Ruel. And he helped them at the well to give their animals water.
Wow.
Well. It's like in John 4 when Jesus was at a well. Not the same well, but same thing, And after he helped them, they just left him at the well.
Wow.
And I don't know how long he sat there, because when they got back, their dad said, wait, how did you get back so early?
Oh, we got this man from Egypt or wherever. He helped us. And and we left him at the well.
And then he said,
well, go and fetch.
Why don't you invite him to eat with us? And Moses ended up enjoying his dinner so much that he married Zipporah. And
Just
they
like
got
that.
a child.
The riz of this man.
The riz on this man was too much. And his son's name was Gershom, which means, do you know?
I have absolutely no idea.
Foreigner. Because he was a foreigner in a foreign land.
Ah.
That's what his firstborn son names me. That's what Moses' firstborn son, his name means. And from here, the chapter ends with a very awesome way. I always love reading that part because it says the cry of the Hebrew slaves was heard by God. He remembered his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and he cared for them. And then it's like this classic movie setup of what's about to happen. And then we see the plan in motion from chapter 3 onward. So it's the whole setup is done like in a movie, the first act. You introduce your characters, the world, the problem, and boom, now the inciting incident is almost here.
So we're almost getting to the exciting parts now.
Yes, and that will be in the next episode.